Act 4, Scene 2, in a way, it gives us an insight into the kind of the domestic life of Macduff's family. And this is important in the scene because what we see is a loving mother. We see her son and her children in a way that's quite domestic, but quite endearing to the audience. And what you're seeing is what recognizable as a parent and the children in their living environment, and how they are destroyed because of one man's fear and envy. And what can be done to make him fly the land? And here we kind of get a sense that it kind of starts in media res. Okay, have you heard of that term, in media res? Because what it means, it kind of starts almost in the action itself. Okay, what can be done to make him fly the land? You must have patience, madam. He had none. His flight was madness when our actions do not. Our fears do make us traitors. And she understands now that with Macduff leaving to go to England, he has committed treason in a sense. He has gone to consort with foreign powers. Now, even though they may be allowed to, but he has, in a way, disrespected Macbeth as King of Scotland. And that will not go unpunished, as you know. You know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear. And I want you to think about that. We got the idea of rationality, and we've got the idea of irrationality, the fear, thinking and fear. And it's that idea, that kind of idea of emotion. Wisdom, to leave his wife, to leave his babes, his mansion, his titles, in a place from whence himself does fly. She questions that. He loves us not. He wants the natural touch for the poor wren. The most diminutive birds will fight her young ones in her nest against the owl. All is the fear and nothing is the love. As little as the wisdom where the flight so runs against all reason. She doesn't quite understand, but Macduff does. Macduff knows he cannot do anything unless he has the backing, okay, of England, but more importantly, that he knows that there is a king in waiting, ready to come in and fulfill the right kingship, returning back to Malcolm. He needs to talk to Malcolm, and he won't do that, okay? He won't make any decisions until he's done that. Then Ross says, my dearest cause, I pray you school yourself, but for your husband, he is noble, wise and judicious, and best knows the fits of the season. I dare not speak much further. And again, Ross here is with a trusted person. The audience see that even someone like Ross understands the nature of what is happening. Cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves, when we hold rumor from what we fear, yet know what we fear, not know what we fear, but float upon a wild and violent sea. And we get again that sense of chaos, the chaos of Macbeth's kingship. There is no lasting kind of rationale. He's violently impulsive. Each way and more, I take my leave of you. Shall not be long and I'll be here again. Things at the worst will cease, or else climb upward. And what they were before, my pretty cousin, blessing upon you. Ross leaves. Okay. Lady Macduff. Fathered he is, and yet he's fatherless. I am so much a fool. Should I stay longer, it would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave. at once. And what's interesting here, he says, it would be my disgrace and your discomfort. Okay, I'll take my leave at once. Now remember, Macduff is his noble fame. And they are in Macduff's quarters talking. They're not in the kind of main castle. And in a way, what he's saying is, all right, if I stay any longer, people may consider me, okay, to be doing something that's inappropriate. And I would be disgraced for that because Macduff is a noble man. But also, people would consider you to be just as guilty. So I'm taking my leave. Ross leaves. And then we get this beautiful domestic kind of interaction between the son. And there's humor here. There's love and humor. And it's what's lovely about it is it gives us an insight into what a loving family can be like, and one that Macbeth will never experience. Sarah, your father's dead. And what will you do now? How will you live? As birds do, mother. What with worms and flies? With what I get. I mean, and so do they. Poor bird. Let's never fear nor net, nor lime, nor pitfall, nor the gin. And what's interesting here is the birds. Now, what's interesting again, we've got an allusion here to the teachings of Jesus, where he said, don't worry about what you eat, because God will look after you. And we get this sense of the son having faith in God's kind of bounteous nature. There we are. Poor bird, that's never fear the net, nor line the pitfall, nor the gin. And in a way, she says, you're kind of naive. You don't understand that life is more complex. Why should I, mother? Poor birds, they are not set for him. My father's not dead for all you're saying. Yes, he is dead. Now, what will I do for a father? Nay, how will you do for a husband? And this beautiful kind of interaction of, why I can buy me 20 at any market. Then you buy him to sell again. Thou speakest thy wit, and the faith with wit alone for thee. And then there's a little bit of a turn here in the tone. We get this kind of quite lovely interactive kind of tone. This kind of, there's something joyful, there's something kind of funny. And then, was my father a traitor, mother? Aye, that he was. What is a traitor? Why, one who swears and lies. And now what's interesting is that Shakespeare needs to show that this son, this boy, is no threat to anyone. He doesn't really understand the nature of what he's accused of. And be all traitors that do so? Every one of them. And so does a traitor, it must be hanged. And must they all be hanged that swear and lie? Every one. Who must hang them? Why, the honest men. The liars and swears are fools, for they are liars and swears enough to beat the honest men and hang them up. Hang up them. I God help thee, poor monkey. But how wilt thou do for a father? If he were dead, you'd weep for him. If you would not, it were a good sign, and I should quickly have a new father. Poor prattler, thou talkest. All right, we're just going to pause there for a second and look at this a little bit closer. But I want to look at this idea that if you were dead, you'd weep for him. Because even this boy knows his mother loves his father and his father loves his mother. And that beautiful domestic scene, okay, kind of precludes what's going to happen next. Okay, we're going to stop there.